I was never satisfied with working for any private person for 9 to 5 rule. I always want to work for higher purpose. It's an uncertain exam. I always want to clear it in first attempt. It can take multiple attempts. So that was the biggest fear for me.
Which of the two exams tested you more mentally, CA or UPSC?
Biggest reality check was that it is not an exam to test our knowledge. The fourth attempt was the toughest because for the last second and third attempt, I reached till the interview stage. But in the fourth, I couldn't even clear the prelims.
What exactly changed between that attempt of yours where you got the IRTS and then you finally landed the IAS?
In the CSC 25, I just marked 70 and I was able to score 117.
What advice would you like to give our 2027 aspirants on the basis of this 2026 prelims paper that just passed? Hello aspirants, welcome to a new podcast series of Drishti IAS. Some journeys are measured by success. Other journeys are measured by the courage to keep going on. Our guest today chose the second path. He hails from Patiala. He's a CA rank holder. He cracked one of the toughest professional exams of the country. And he chose to prepare for another very difficult examination, the UPSC CSE examination. He gave 5 attempts. Now, in his third attempt, he secured the IRTS, a dream for thousands of aspirants. But he did not stop there. He chose to begin again, prepare again, and his resilience led him to All India Rank 64 and the Indian Administrative Services. The thing is, today we are not going to discuss just the study hours or the syllabus or strategies. We are also going to talk about resilience, difficult decisions, self-belief, and what it really takes for an aspirant to stay committed to his dream for years. Please join me today in welcoming our guest, Mr. Jayant Garg, All India Rank 64, UPSC CSE 2025. A very warm welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
Very well, sir. Thank you. So, sir, before we talk about All India Rank 64, let's talk about Jayant Garg. Please tell me, you've been a CA rank holder. You've also, in our offline conversations, told me that, you cleared Haryana PCS as well. And here you are, with an IRTS under your bag, also with an AIR 64. What do you think led you to this journey? And did you always know you wanted to be in public service?
Ma'am, I can say that I was not prepared earlier for the public services. I was always dreamt of becoming a chartered accountant. I am very grateful for that also. And once I become a chartered accountant, I thought that being a chartered accountant, my role is that I should ensure that every rupee is accounted for and everything is done as per the laws. And while working there, I thought that I should pursue such a career where there is a higher purpose is there. That not just for working for the client's money, I should work for some public money also or for some public purpose. So from there that my journey to become an IAS officer started. That all continued till I become an IAS officer.
All right. So what was your first inspiration exactly? The point where you decided and you realized that this is it for me?
Ma'am, my first inspiration was my parents. So my parents was in the government service. So I saw the what kind of status or we can say the respect a civil servant get and also the power which they have to bring the change. I think that also inspired me to pursue this as a career.
So you kind of said that, it was not your childhood dream really, but I believe that your childhood or the kind of upbringing you had did play a subtle part at least in choosing that dream.
Ma'am, yes, it helped me like choosing this as a career opportunity. Because when I saw my parents, although they were not in the civil services, when I saw the respect they are getting as a government servant or a government official, I think that also played a role. Also, ma'am, being while I was in the Patiala, so I also saw that many administrators, what kind of role they are playing, and also they can make a changes in the society. That also inspired me. Like I can say, share an incident. Like there was a flooding in Patiala, so I saw that and district magistrate in Patiala played a very upfront role. She was she played a very inspiring role. She gave the confidence to others also. Like, I am here, I can work for the people. So I think that also motivated me that more strongly to pursue this as a career.
Nice. That's lovely to know. So Jayant, you've also like you've been a rank holder in chartered accountancy, and that's like one of the toughest and the most respected professional qualifications. And most people would consider it as their final destination, right? That is something that they've achieved and they'd be proud of it. What made you leave that behind and choose an even more uncertain journey like UPSC?
Ma'am, I think I was not leaving the chartered accountancy behind, because I think all the values or the things which the chartered accountancy has told me or taught me has helped me clear this exam also. Moreover, the values, I am also carrying the chartered accountant's values in the civil services. Ma'am, the reason for choosing this as, like, I was never satisfied with working for any private person for 9 to 5 rule. I always want to work for higher purpose. So I am carrying that chartered accountant values of integrity, professionalism, and accountability into this service also.
Right, that's fantastic. What was your family's reaction when you told them about your decision?
They always supported my every decision, because I think since childhood also, I always take decisions and always fulfill that. I never leave anything behind. Even while I thought of becoming a chartered accountant, although there is a low success rate in that also, but my family always supported me in all my decisions. So they fulfilled, they wholeheartedly supported me. Even while I have to leave many jobs also in the private sector, many rewarding jobs or career options to continue this journey, but they always supported me.
What was your biggest fear before starting?
Ma'am, biggest fear was that it's an uncertain exam, and clearing it, I always want to clear it in first attempt. But I was always afraid that it will take multiple attempts. It can take multiple attempts. So that was the biggest fear for me.
Right. Like when you started preparing for UPSC, I'm sure you had like a certain image of the exam in your
Yes.
head, the exam, what is it like? Tell me, what are the reality checks that you got? And what are some of the mistakes that every beginner should avoid? You know, I have been an aspirant myself and I have made quite a few mistakes. So, what would you suggest to all our aspirants?
The biggest reality check was that it is not an exam to test our knowledge. Because when for the first time I gave this prelims in CSE 21, I thought that I have read all the books, all the standard books, and I have prepared thoroughly. So I would be able to easily mark 60, 70 good answers. But when I went for the prelims, it was a reality check that I couldn't even correctly mark 50 answers. So I think that it need more depth and more conceptual clarity, which I was lacking in my first attempt also. So I think that was the biggest reality check which I had.
The conceptual clarity part. What other mistakes do you think fellow aspirants could avoid that you made?
Ma'am, in few attempts, what mistakes I did was, like, I was doing lots of reading. I was collecting various books. I was reading various material, but was not revising or focusing on the depth of the concepts. So that was the mistake I did. I think new aspirants who are pursuing this, I think they should avoid it. They should focus their learning. They should focus their reading. They should more focus on the revisions and ensure the consistency in that.
Right. I think that stands true for a lot of, English medium aspirants. I have been one. And the thing is, because there is a plethora of information and a lot of resources in the market, we tend to accumulate resources and do not focus on what is the key aspect, which is revision, multiple revisions. Right. Jayant, 5 attempts do change a person, right? So if you look back today, how do you think each attempt has changed you as an individual?
Ma'am, each attempt taught me something. They built my resilience. Even the success also gave me confidence. So, ma'am, each attempt shaped me. In the first attempt, I was I can say as a child, I was not prepared what kind of exam or uncertainties. But later exams, I was more prepared. Even I was prepared, if I couldn't clear, I will again give this exam. In the first exam, after not clearing, I was totally dejected, because for the first time I faced failure. Like, I was always a rank holder in my CA also. So for the first time, I couldn't clear an exam. So it taught me resilience. It taught me discipline and also ensured that I consistently follow my timetables. So that things I have learned from my failures.
Right. Which attempt would you think was the toughest?
Ma'am, I think the fourth attempt was the toughest because for the last third and second and third attempt, I reached till the interview stage, but in the fourth, I couldn't even clear the prelims. So that made me question all the decisions which I had taken for the civil services. So rising above that was a big challenge for me, for which I think I can thank my family, which told me that you would be clearing this exam and just need one more attempt. So they inspired me to give last attempt with my full energy.
So your family was what kept you going.
Yes.
What do you think was the biggest lesson that all these attempts, or rather, let's say half successes, I wouldn't call them failures directly, but what was the biggest lesson that you learned from all these attempts of yours?
Ma'am, the lesson I have learned is that first of all, sometimes this exam can take time. So what is needed is consistency, discipline, and hard work, along with some amount of luck also, ma'am. Because luck also play a very important role in this exam, I feel. So I think I have learned these things.
You know, Jayant, and I think I mentioned it off camera also, but the fact that you do attribute credit to luck other than your hard work and strategy, I think that reflects your humility as well as a person.
Because ma'am, I always think that all the students prepare in the equal measure, and they have also done the hard work. It's just a luck which play a difference between playing a luck also play a very large role in securing a good rank and versus not in the list. So
Absolutely. Your third attempt gave you IRTS. And trust me, that's a dream job for thousands of aspirants, right? What made you think your journey wasn't over and that you have to prepare further? And how sure were you that you're going to make the cut?
ma'am, first of all, I was never sure that I would be able to secure a good rank and get into administrative services. And ma'am, what kept me going was that I always thought that I entered this preparation for becoming an IAS officer. So I should give a last attempt, and there should not be any regret. I was always grateful that I got the IITS. It's a wonderful service. But I always thought ki I will give a last attempt so that in the later period I don't have any regret that attempt was left and age was left. So I should have appeared for that. So even in the last fifth attempt, I always gave the attempt that whatever will happen, I would be just free that I did my best.
What exactly changed between that attempt of yours where you got the IRTS and then you finally landed the IAS? What was the difference exactly?
Ma'am, the difference what was there that I analyzed my errors, like some errors which I committed, like I was not doing the enough of writing practice. I was not preparing enough notes. So I analyzed what errors I was doing. So the time when I couldn't clear the prelims in 2024 CSC. So I analyzed all the errors that give me time. So I did lots of answer writing practice. I ensured the consistency in my answers. I ensured that all the notes are in place. So I think that made huge difference in my CSC 25 results.
Was there any time where you thought your confidence was very much shaken?
Ma'am, when I couldn't clear the prelims in my fourth attempt, despite appearing for interview twice, I think it's a nature of this exam where the uncertainty is always there, and you are never sure that you would be able to clear because there is always something which you have left to read.
Right. So you also mentioned that you double down on the answer writing practice. You analyze your errors. Is there something that you stopped doing that you were doing earlier?
I think the complacency part I stopped because once in the earlier attempts I was writing the answers but not reviewing the feedback which I was getting, even not reading the model answers for that. In the last attempt, I improved on that. I've read all the model answers and even worked upon the feedbacks which I was getting, not just writing the answers. So I think that gave me good content as well, and also ensured that whatever errors I was committing in my first exam or first paper, I'm not committing the same in last. So by the time I was writing the mains, I was fully prepared for that.
Between your first attempt and your AIR 64, what are two or three changes that, transformed your results? So, this exam has multiple stages. There are multiple filters we discussed: prelims, mains, interviews, personality test, right? And even here at Drishti, we do receive quite a few aspirants for English medium preparation for, let's say, the foundation course, prelims, sometimes even optionals. So, in your case, which stage do you think moved the needle for you? Which stage of preparation?
I always feel that mains is the main key because it decides which rank you would be getting. Although the interview is also an important stage, but I think the marks of mains are the more important. I think the answer writing moved the needle for me. In the last attempt, I did a lots of answer writing, and also I overcame my fear of essays. In the first attempt, I was afraid of writing an essay, but by the last, I am like I want to, because I was afraid I would write more essays. So by the time the last mains I gave, I written almost 40-50 essays in 3 months. So I think that increased my marks substantially.
Hmm. Is there any, like, let's say, a strong forte that you developed during your preparation? Any of the GS papers? You mentioned that you really substantially improved your marks for the essay. What about any GS papers, or your optional for that matter, where you think that you really got a strong command?
Ma'am, I think in GS4 I got 141 marks. So I think that's a forte for me, because in the last two mains also I was scoring around 120 marks in GS4. On that subject I have a good hold. Yes, ma'am.
And what do you think were the changes that you made to, get that jump start in your score from 120s, let's say, to a solid 141?
During the preparation for GS4 ethics, I accumulated lots of examples. Because in the earlier attempts I was writing the monotonous examples which we all get from the internet or the regular study material. But this time I collected very interesting examples. Even the examples or the instances which I accumulated for the essay also used in the GS4. And also apart from that, the quotes or the underlining part or whatever thing we can do. So I improved on that. I think that also helped improving the bit 20-30 marks in my GS4.
Right. What was one of the changes that you made in your prelims preparation?
Ma'am, I always feel that in prelims, instead of marking more right answers, there is also catch that we should reduce our negatives, because we can analyze that even writing 50 or marking 50 questions correctly can also lead to clearing of prelims, because the cutoff is less than 100 always.
Hmm.
Because in when the first attempt I gave, I marked almost 90-95. But this time I always thought ki I would mark whatever I am sure of.
Right.
So in the CSC 25, I just marked 70 and I was able to score 117. So I tried to reduce my negative marks in that.
So basically, working on accuracy rather than the quantity of questions
Yes.
that you attempt. Right. That's wonderful. Tell me some of the changes, or rather some of the tips that you incorporated for your commerce and accountancy optional, please.
Ma'am, in the commerce, I prepared my own notes. Apart from reading various material which I could get, and I prepared my own notes. In the last attempt, I did my entire revision for my own notes, because there was a handwritten notes which I am not that much tech savvy, so I make my notes on the hard paper. So I use that notes for entire revision, and also added some of the to make the answers interesting, some diagrams and some examples also. Like being a chartered accountant, I was reading the economic newspaper, so I accumulated examples for that also. So for that I used in commerce. So I think that made my answers bit interesting.
So your journey as a chartered accountant really added a lot of value to your optional. Great. Let's move on to the latest buzz, the 2026 prelims examination, so talked about. People are calling it the toughest examinations in recent years, very unpredictable. What is your take on this examination? And do you think that UPSC is actually forcing the aspirants to change the way that they prepare for the exam?
No doubt it was a toughest exam. Like whatever questions I had seen, they are the toughest. Even I couldn't even thought of attempting such answers. I think the UPSC is always uncertain, and also it don't test the knowledge of a person. It always tests the conceptual clarity, and I think the UPSC is moving toward that only. Even in the previous exams, also there are the many questions which are totally uncertain, or they are not directly from books. Even I think the amount of that questions has increased in this CSC. But I think the UPSC is also forcing the students to think out of the box to ensure the depth of their knowledge and also ensure the conceptual clarity instead of mugging the books or accumulating the study materials.
So UPSC is probably focusing a lot on analytical thinking
Yes, ma'am.
rather than rote learning. What advice would you like to give our 2027 aspirants on the basis of this 2026 prelims paper that just passed?
The simple advice I can give is that they should focus whatever they are reading, they should focus that they can understand things better instead of just learning the things, and also ensure that they can revise. Instead of reading a one book or 100 books, they should revise the one book multiple times so that they don't miss any important concept in that, and also ensure the consistency in their efforts.
Let's take a detour here. And let's talk about the role of AI. Just like our 2026 prelims, AI is also making a lot of buzz. And the kind of help that it provides our aspirants these days. Do you think AI helped you in your journey as well?
AI, I use AI models also, like for my preparation. Although I was not totally relied on AI, I use this to brainstorm some of the ideas, sometime to read some good examples for the essay, or sometime to analyze my answers. But I think there is a need to focus also how we use AI, because many times the AI gives the answer which are not realistic. So there is always need to proofread that, and also relying totally on AI can also sometimes backfire. So I think it's a need of intelligent use of AI.
Do you think you'll call it like a game changer for Gen Z?
Ma'am, if it is used constructively, it can be a game changer. But otherwise, it can also be some kind of disaster if excessive reliance on AI is put, because for the civil services always need some kind of conceptual clarity and the validity of facts. Sometimes AI can't provide that.
And I think it could also probably box up the answers in a similar way. Kind of creates very template-based
Yes, ma'am.
answers, which would give a repetitive look.
It would be a monotonous to read also such answers. There is also always need of our own intelligence to use to present it in a better manner.
Right. So it should be used as a tool, substituted with our
Yes.
own discernment and intelligence. Tell me, what are the areas where actually AI could help in the preparation?
I can take example where, such as in the essay, we can put our topics in the AI. We can generate some good examples, and also we have to test that it's a right example or it's a imagination of AI. So, and second, ma'am, it can be also used to sometime evaluate our answers also. Like we can put our answers to ask AI where I can improve. Also, but that need our own understanding also. That we should not totally reliant on AI. That it's always correct.
So basically, you were suggesting that AI should be used as a supplement, not as a substitute,
ma'am.
is what you're suggesting.
Yes.
Right. By the way, we at Drishti IAS have also launched our Drishti AI vertical, wherein, if we submit like mains answer writing to the AI, they can evaluate and provide a detailed feedback. So we are also trying to move towards AI. Tell me, if you could sit across the table from Jayant Garg, who was writing his first attempt, and the Jayant Garg today, what advice would you give him?
Then the only advice is that the journey would be long. So be prepared for that. And there is no substitute or shortcuts. There is always need a hard work for this. And that's all I think I can give.
Would you also probably mention something about dealing with failure?
Yes, ma'am. That I think the dealing with failure is also a big thing which I think every aspirant should know, because there can be a many chance. Even if you are clearing in the first attempt, many times you would feel that I am not worthy of this. Like I am not preparing very well for that. My preparation is not up to the mark. So many days would be there that you will be feeling that I will not able to clear. So rising above that is also a challenge, and also I think it's a great learning also, because the civil services shapes your character in that way, because the failures are also important to for building a strong character.
Do you think the Jayant Garg today is going to pat the back of Jayant 5 attempts back?
Definitely, ma'am. Keep it like to keep going till 5 attempts. It's also a big achievement, I think.
Absolutely.
Even if a person is not clearing this exam despite many attempts, then keep going for 5 attempts. You need very much courage, ma'am. I think
Absolutely. So I think
for that, if a person should be congratulated.
your the past Jayant is proud of the current Jayant, and the current Jayant, present Jayant is very proud of the past Jayant for not having given up.
Yes, ma'am.
So, we have a rapid fire section with us in this podcast, and I'll be shooting questions at you, and you have to give me very quick replies with probably just a one-line explanation if needed. Okay? So, my first question is Patiala or Delhi?
Patiala.
Why?
Patiala is like my hometown and a royal city.
Oh, okay. Which of the two exams tested you more mentally, CA or UPSC?
Ma'am, UPSC.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Which of the 5 attempts taught you your biggest lesson?
Ma'am, first attempt when I couldn't clear the prelims, despite I was fully confident that I would be clearing.
Right. Okay. One UPSC myth that you'd like to break?
Ma'am, that I don't have any
There's no
answer.
myth.
There is no
Okay.
myth. I think whatever we understand the UPSC that it's a toughest exam. It's really a toughest exam.
You agree with it.
Yes,
There
I
is no myth. Everything is true.
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
whatever they say is true about
Yes,
UPSC. Absolutely
It's
okay.
really uncertain
It
and,
is uncertain.
and toughest.
Accepted as the answer. Tell me, how would you describe AI in one word?
Helpful.
Lovely answer. If you could state one habit that every aspirant should start from tomorrow itself, what would it be?
Ma'am, stick to the timetable.
Wow. Okay. One book beyond UPSC that changed your thinking.
Ma'am, didn't get any time to read.
Okay, then one book in your UPSC preparation that changed your thinking.
Ma'am, I think the polity and also the art and culture, because I couldn't understand anything.
Okay. Okay. Define success in one word.
Happiness.
And what is happiness for you?
Ma'am, seeing my mother happy.
Lovely. That's very sweet. Okay. If your UPSC journey was made into a movie, what would the title be?
The journey of failures and ultimate success.
Okay. I think that's a very good title. Jen, thank you for joining us here and for sharing your journey with us. Your journey not only provided us with knowledge, but also with your strategy and your mindset while preparing the exam. To all of you who watched this conversation, I hope you are going back not only with some tips and strategies, but also with values like courage, conviction, and self-belief. To watch more such episodes, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Tell us in the comments who would you like to have on the show next. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and thanks for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.